here in New Zealand, you want to think about what it means for New Zealand. I think the direct impact is actually fairly small in the scheme of things. The trading relationship's fairly small. New Zealand sells a lot more into the Asian markets and so on. And so I think it's a fairly small effect in overall, but it's not insignificant. But I actually think New Zealand's doing a little bit better. I mean, I think this year you're going to see an upswing in the New Zealand economy. I think that's what everyone's worried about. Is we all feel the same way, but we're worried someone's going to come and eat our lunch. There's going to be a Donald Trump-shaped bite out of our sandwich that we were expecting to eat this year.
So I think you've got a couple of things going for you. So one of them is, of course, that inflation's come down enough now that the RBNZ's cutting interest rates, and not just by a little bit. They've cut interest rates already by 175 basis points. That's quite a lot of stimulus that's starting to pour into the New Zealand economy. I think you're seeing that showing up in surveys, consumer sentiment surveys, and so on. So that's one tailwind. And the other tailwind you've got is that, dairy prices have risen, meat prices are elevated, you've got more volumes, your terms of trade is positive, so you're going to get a national income tailwind from that story, and both of those things we think will lift growth after a pretty tough year last year in terms of the economy contracting. I think you're going to get quite a decent bounce back through this year, pretty strong bounce back if you look at it through the year. And so those things are at work. And as you say, I guess there's risks out there from the global story. But one of the things to keep in mind is you're tied to the China story a lot, and China's story is pivoting more towards the consumer. So instead of being as driven by sort of metals intensive activities like building factories and building property, they can't do as much of that. They've already done a lot of that, but they're pivoting their own stimulus measure towards the consumer. If the Chinese consumer picks up, which is part of what we think's likely, then that's actually a positive for New Zealand. So there's a few tailwinds here.